Hi, everybody. I'm Jen Martin. I am known as the MS Wellness Coach on social media, but I thought I would take a moment to introduce myself and who I am, not only as a patient of having MS myself, but I've also been working in the healthcare industry since 2011. So I hope that while this is going, that you join in and listen and be interactive with me. If you have questions while I'm going along, please do ask. I just thought I would do an impromptu live video just to engage with you, to let you know who I am. So let me start by saying that I am a patient. I have MS. I was diagnosed in 1987 with remitting relapsing. And it's been a long time since I was diagnosed with it. I have had several different ups and downs with it. I have been wheelchair bound. I have been blind. I have been numb from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. I've had to have 24/7 caregivers. And it's been a crazy roller coaster ride with MS. I'm not gonna lie, it's not fun. But I also want to talk to you about being on the side of working in healthcare and how I saw, as working for a major healthcare network, how we, as the provider, helped and treated the patients that came in, to get help. They were seeking help for whatever ailments, challenges that they were having. I know that, networks do the best they can. They have doctors, professionals who are licensed, and some of them have specialties. And being that you or someone has MS, it's really important to find a specialist, neurologist that is in that specialty field of MS and neurology. So what I found was that even though we have a healthcare network, and we have professionals and we have licensed folks that can, have studied and can help you in those areas, they don't always have the answers. And so it really got me thinking, how can we as the patient be more proactive in our life to control our health and to be able to manage our health symptoms without the aid of running to a doctor. I mean, face it, we were pretty much shown since we were a child that when we're ill, when we're feeling sick or we're hurt or injured, the first thing that your parents do is take you to the doctor. And so that's what that's what you trust, is that the doctors are doing the best that they can to help you with your ailments and your challenges. Not always do they have the answer. Some of them is a mystery, but for the most part, they can help. And there are times when it is absolutely necessary to go see your doctor. But when it comes to MS, I will tell you a little story. So I was a caregiver for my mom for 6 years. I was her full-time caregiver. I was working a full-time job in healthcare, and I was a single parent to a teenage daughter. And I think that the stress that I went through with everything really took its toll on me. I didn't have a purpose other than to care for my mom. My health took a backseat to taking care of my mom and making sure that she had what she needed. And I was also a parent, so my daughter also had to come first before myself. So after my mom passed in February of 2017, I immediately thought the best thing for me to do is go back to work and just move on, try and move on with my life. I know that she's in a better place. So that's what I did. I went back to work almost immediately afterwards. And for the most part, it took my mind off of things, and I thought I was doing well. Well, come to find out that, you know, as time went on, the environment that I was working in was very stressful. It was very highly stressful. And between that and all the stress that I went through with my mom and being a parent, it really, really took its toll on me. In November of 2017, shortly after my mom passed, I had an immediate, like almost an instant onset of chronic fatigue that just came out of nowhere. It was getting harder and harder for me to get out of bed. My body felt like a boulder at times. I just remembered feeling so exhausted all the time. I had no energy for anything. I couldn't even think. I had brain fog. I had, I couldn't think. I couldn't focus. I couldn't concentrate. It was crazy. I finally eventually begged my doctor to take me off of work because I was missing so much work that I was in jeopardy of losing my job. And maybe some of you can relate to what I'm talking about. So finally, he did take me off of work, and I went on a medical leave of absence. And shortly after I went out, I noticed that my body just relaxed what it needed to, and I was eventually sleeping up to 20 hours a day. It was not a joke. So literally the 4 hours that I was up during the day was really nothing. I just really wasn't even existing at that point. I was not even living. I barely had focus, barely had time to watch TV, just couldn't even think, couldn't take in or process what I was learning or watching on TV. It was a really, really scary time for me. After I went through bouts and different, I guess what they call treatments to see if my remitting relapsing time would get better, I went through several different treatments and nothing was working, nothing. I mean, after several months of trying different things, just didn't work. Went in through several MRIs, blood tests, all kinds of things. And what my neurologist interestingly found out was that I had no new active lesions. I had old lesions, of course. I've had, you know, MS for several years, but the main thing that really got to him or really showed him was that because there's no evidence of new MS, no active MS, and because I did not respond to the treatments, that my MS had progressed into secondary progressive. And I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to feel. I didn't know how to react. I apologize, my phone is ringing. So anyway, it was really a really tough time for me, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going to come. And so I just had to have faith that my neurologist would be able to help me. So after several discussions, there was a couple of new medications coming on the market that were not out yet and were not available for doctors to prescribe. He had told me that it was a possibility that one of these medications would be able to help me in secondary progressive MS. But that he would have to attend the conference and, you know, talk with his cohorts and see, you know, what the consensus is. Well, after him getting back, he had news that I really did not want to hear, but it was true. So in order for medications, depending on the manufacturer, depending on the medication itself, is really geared for people who have what they call active MS. And active MS means that you have active lesions going on, new lesions, or on your brain or your spine, or it could be that old lesions have reactivated, and it shows through contrast when they do the MRI. So unfortunately, because I didn't have quote unquote active MS, that the medications would not help me. I felt hopeless. I felt alone. I was extremely scared. And what I was facing and the symptoms that I was having were completely different than what I've had in the past. I've never had chronic fatigue before. But of course, you know, having MS, it's a progressive disease. The longer you have it, the more likely it's going to progress into the different stages, and you may or may not have different symptoms. And if you do, it could be a whole different world of symptoms that you're used to from before. But some of them are still the same. And as you know, with MS, there's a common symptoms, but not one person, not two people have the same symptoms or the same commonalities. It's crazy. So because I was suffering from chronic fatigue and sleeping up to 20 hours a day, and not really having the mental capacity, the able to focus or concentrate, it made it really hard for me to be able to get out of this fog that I was in, to be able to focus on what it is that I needed. And so one day I just had an epiphany, and I thought to myself, I am way too young for this to be the rest of my life. And I have to do something, and I have to do it now, and it has to be drastic. Otherwise, I am going to wither away to nothing. So I began researching everything that I could, from nutrition to self-care to you know, quantum physics, to everything that I could think of that I could immediately take action on and implement right away, and hope and pray and keep my fingers crossed that it works. And so I began this health and wellness journey January 1st of 2019. And I just began trying different things and taking notes, making a journal, wrote down what worked, what didn't work, you know, how I felt afterwards. Did it make me more tired? Did it make the symptoms worse? And believe it or not, within a short amount of time, I was feeling a difference. I also had enrolled in going to school to learn more about health and wellness and how to manage symptoms and health naturally, as I knew that medication was just out of question for me. So during the time that I was in school, I learned a whole lot more than what I could Googling stuff, and come to find out that there were some things that I really needed to take right away, which were different supplements to help reduce the inflammation that I had that was going on in my body, that was really wreaking havoc on my system, and was coming out as chronic fatigue and the migraines that I developed and all kinds of crazy stuff. So it really taught me that if we really take care of ourselves, I mean, really take care of ourselves and not put ourselves on the back burner, and eating properly, taking care of ourselves, toxins, the environment. There are so many different things that we can do to be proactive in taking control of our health and not always relying on Western medicine. Two, it can be incorporated, you know, so there is a time where it's necessary to take medication, but at the same time, you can do holistic and natural remedies as well. So as a patient, I can't tell you the importance it is to be your own advocate. Learn to ask the questions of your doctor. How are they going to be able to help you? What does the future look like for you? Are you right now working a full-time job? You have MS, you're struggling to get through the day. There are ways to get through it, and you don't have to suffer. I didn't know anybody else that was going through what I did, so I went through it alone, unfortunately. It was a very difficult road for me, but the good news is, and the fabulous news that I have to share with you is, not even 10 months ago, I was sleeping 20 hours a day. I didn't even have energy to get out of bed and go to the bathroom. And here I am today. Well, I have totally reversed my fatigue. I have, you know, granted, I still have bad days. I mean, there is no cure for MS, just being real. But for the most part, my fatigue is better. And there are days where I have brain fog and I just totally space out. And it is what it is. It's the nature of the beast. But I'm being honest. And that's the whole part of me connecting with you right now, is to being honest, my authentic self, showing you and telling you who I am and how I became the MS Wellness Coach. I know that what I have been through, many of you have gone through it or are going through it now, or perhaps even know someone who is going through it, and you want to be able to help them, show them how to just get better. And there are ways to do it. It's really a simple step-by-step program. And I want you to know that you're not alone. I am here for you. I really welcome you to take my poll, reach out and share my video, if you will, to those who you know who have MS. MS is not something to play with, and it's your life that you're talking about. And so learning how you can be proactive and be your own advocate, and learning other ways how to manage your MS symptoms and your fatigue naturally, oh my gosh, is incredible. And I can show you how to do that. I thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I would appreciate your comments, your questions, your suggestions. If you want to connect with me personally, I would love you to reach out. That is what I'm here for. I want you to know that I'm here and that you're not alone. And I really do appreciate you guys taking the time. Thank you so much, and I will be doing some more future videos live coming soon. Thank you so much.